Today I fucked up by giving my 18-month-old my car keys instead of the house keys while loading the car. Disclaimer. This actually happened late last night and it's exactly as it sounds. I feel awful about it honestly, and I'm now realizing just how much I need a day off. It's been a long few weeks and I've been working flat out during the week and running my business over the weekends, with only one day a week where I've been taking my little boy to see our friend who has a child the same age. So I've not had a single day in about a month where I haven't had to leave the house for work of some description, as I've been painting a mural at our friend's house for them. It started about 6:15 last night and we were saying out goodbyes as the littles were getting a bit grisly. My little one would not let me strap him into his car seat, so to keep him occupied I gave him some keys. Normally it's my house keys, keeps him happy and means I can get him in. This time, stupidly, I got the first set that I could out of my pocket and gave it to him. In the time it took me to close the passenger door and walk around to the boot, I saw the lights flash. Tried the door. Bollocks, my friend was freaking out a bit. I phoned my partner to see if he had the spare, no dice. My little one has, in this time, got his chest straps off, taken off his shoes and socks and undone all the poppers on his dungarees, but is otherwise happy. Check my insurance policy, lo and behold I have RAC. Ring them. They have a target time of 8:30 to 10:40 p.m. Calling my partner. He still can't find them. By this point it's 7 p.m. I get a text from RAC. They'll be there in 20 minutes, great. Very important. My car is an Astra twin top, which means that the doors don't have a frame at the top and closes into the seal under the lip of the roof. It also means the doors are longer. My son pressed the lock button twice when he locked it, so the car is deadlocked. All this is to say that it's incredibly difficult to break into the car. We started off trying the door handles with no joy. Littlin fell asleep and had dropped the key into his car seat, so RAC tries using his tools to press the buttons on the fob, which just kept falling further into the car seat. It was time to give up on that when my son moved his arm and covered the keys. We were stood there for over 2 hours while RAC tried to open the door handles, press the unlock button in the center console, and lastly open the bonnet. Get into the bonnet. Use his tools to press the window buttons in the door while he tries to get the electrics to open the window. By now it's 8:50 p.m. My partner has contacted our friend who actually had the spare key the whole time. He goes out to our friend, and gets to us around 9:30 p.m. We finally get into the car. Partner loads the car seat into his to take Littlin home, who is pretty cold and miserable at this point. The car alarm going off every 20 minutes hadn't helped, but at least he had napped while he was in there. He was just happy to be out, smiling and waving at RAC as they went. RAC stuck around a few more minutes with me to make sure my car reset properly and would actually start. Took a few tries, but eventually we got it working. And this entire time I had been standing at the car window, holding my phone up to play nursery rhymes and program to keep Littlin happy, in a thunderstorm. 3.5 hours in the pouring rain. Real MVP is my friend who managed to get her Littlin to bed and was in and out of her house with me most of the night, bringing us drinks to keep warm while looking out for her sleeping child, and also helping RAC with the tools while I held up the phone for nursery rhymes and the torch for them. Lessons were learned, biggest one being never give the car keys to the child. Second being, I need a day off. If I hadn't been going for 3 weeks straight like that, I'm not sure it's a mistake I would have made. I'm now taking the day off work to recover from what was a very long, difficult night. My anxiety is through the roof and I nearly passed out standing at the car last night and this morning. Too long did not read. Gave my 18-month-old my car keys instead of the house keys. He proceeded to lock himself in the car while we tried for several hours to get him out. And this why you don't give kids keys? Go to Home Depot, buy a bunch of uncut keys and make him his own keyring. Always have a spare car key on hand at home. In cases like this, or should the key break off inside an outside lock. You make me appreciate the combo pad on the door pillar of my Ford. There's a small safe under the rear seat that also has a combo pad. When we go to the beach, I lock valuables and keys in there. We think one set of keys wound up in a sand castle before we started doing this, and there's never an old man with a metal detector when you need one. I bought a vehicle lockout kit off the tool truck when I worked at a tire shop. Used to be you had to be a mechanic, tow driver or cop to buy one. Now they're just on Amazon. My brother locks his keys in the car every now and then. I bought a new car and accidentally locked it while it was running. Sat in my garage for 8 years unused and now I've used it 4 or 5 times in the last couple. Easily paid for itself by now. Today I fucked up by telling a joke that offended a stranger while I was volunteering for a non-profit. This morning the company I work for was a sponsor for a non-profit event. We were basically handing out free swag to strangers to spread awareness for the non-profit we were sponsoring. A gentleman was walking by, so I said, "Here, take a free paper," but completely ignored me and kept walking. In one last attempt to grab his attention, I said, "It's for the kids." As he walked by and ignored me, I jokingly said, "I guess you don't love the kids then," and he did a 180 and went up to me and said, "Excuse me, what did you say?" I was flabbergasted at the moment that the joke offended him, so I didn't immediately respond but eventually came around and said, "Oh, sorry sir if I offended your conscience. It was just a joke." One of my co-workers who was running the show was there and he approached her demanding that she gives him the name of our company and my manager's name. He then asked for my name, and I told him. I tried to tell the gentleman sorry multiple times and he looked at me and said, "I'm not talking to you." He then told me not to touch him as I was about to lightly put my hand on his back, which is something I keep pondering on. My co-worker was trying to de-escalate the situation, but he told her if she didn't give him the information, he was demanding then he'd call the police. She gave the gentleman the information he asked for. He got on his phone and was lingering around for a bit, casually looking over to our group here and there, and looked upset while he was talking. He eventually left. I'm not sure if he was talking to the receptionist at my company, the police, or whatever. As soon as I got into the office, I approached my manager and told her what happened, apologized, and warned her what she might be notified about. I'm so full of shame and embarrassment right now. I'm just ashamed that I embarrassed all my coworkers at the moment. Embarrassed that I placed a bad light on not only my company but the non-profit we were also sponsoring. I'm honestly scared about what is next. I'm scared about the repercussions of my actions. Maybe with HR or my manager or higher-ups or something. I'm also scared that I might have severely hurt the partnership my company has with the non-profit. Just filled with a lot of anxiety right now, to be honest. I definitely learned my lesson and will be more aware of how I speak when I'm representing my company. I'm a very extroverted young goofy guy that's always cracking jokes, so I have to learn to be more professional and to watch what I say for sure. Too long did not read. I was volunteering for a non-profit that the company I work for was sponsoring. As I was passing out free swag at the event, I told a joke that I thought was lighthearted but was offensive to a stranger. He got my company's name, the manager's name, and my name. Now I'm ashamed and worried about what will come out of this. For starters, you met the one guy who had enough time at a non-profit event to throw a fit. That sucks. Second, if you actually are still pondering why they said, "Don't touch me," it's because don't touch people. Hands to yourself lol. I mean, read the room. If they were legit pissed then you aren't about to hug it out. If you genuinely think you were joking, were you expecting to amuse him? If that is not what you expected then you know very well it was not a joke. His reaction was wrong too though. He should have just explained how rude you were being. Yeah, I'd have been pissed off too. You fucked up. Fuck that guy. I would have told him he should call the police, like they'd give a single shit that you offended him with a completely harmless joke. What did he think they'd do for him? Always call the police to situations like that. Today I fucked up by not discussing with my kids more about their culture. So, I am white. That's the extent of what I know about my heritage. I am white and my husband is white. He says he's German, but really knows nothing of German culture. I grew up in a native home, and participated in many aspects of the culture as a young child, but family issues made us drop contact with most family, so my family no longer participated. It's just a part of my childhood now, but I wouldn't say it's my culture anymore. Today, I, and all the other second-grade parents were invited to Culture Day. Since we never received any homework, or directions, I assumed the kids had learned about different cultures and were doing a presentation of some kind. What actually happened was parents and their kids were put on their own to put together a quick presentation of their own culture, then some would present. I tried to help my son, but he has some mental health problems that cause meltdowns when he's overwhelmed. He almost immediately expressed an interest to do it alone. His teacher and I both know that it's best to let him be when that happens, so her and I chatted about his progress while he did it. When he was done, he asked his teacher if he could go first and showed me. The paper had spots for traditions, clothing, music, food, language, and a blank box to put what they wanted. Above where his name should have gone was the header of the paper. My family culture. He thought he was supposed to name his culture. He wrote, Mexican. I explained that the line was just for his name and he definitely wasn't Mexican. He got mad and scribbled it out and wrote, mixed. No, child, white. White white. And then the teacher called us up to present. So me and my pasty white child stood up while he showed his paper. I was beet red and rebuttaling everything silently in my head. Under food, he drew pictures of tacos, his favorite food. Should have put tater tot hot dish or runzas. Under traditions, he drew a soccer ball. This boy's never played soccer, but wants to. Under language, he wrote, some Spanish. He can count to 5 and say hola. Under clothing, he drew a Husker jersey. Okay, I can't argue that. Under music, he wrote, Believer by Imagine Dragons. What? Okay, fine. And under the open section, he wrote, I was born in America, and drew an American flag. Okay. I was just embarrassed, so as we went back to our seats, I mumbled, that was incorrect. And he very loudly responded with, well, I think I should be Mexican. I never want to go back to a parent event. Too long did not read. My very white son prepared and presented to the class a culture assignment explaining that he is Mexican, based almost solely on his love of tacos and ability to count to 5 in Spanish. Well, he's not Mexican, but if he plays his cards right, he can definitely marry into a Mexican family when he grows up rolling on the floor laughing. Ma'am, your boy is Mexican. Sorry, he's Mexican now. I don't make the rules. I've had a bad couple of days. This made me chuckle, so thank you. It's all right. One of my mates told me when he was 18 about his Chinese heritage. I raised an eyebrow and asked if he meant South Asian, but he insisted on the former. Anyways, about 5 years later he runs up to me going, dude. You were right. I'm Indian, not Chinese. Absolutely hilarious. Apparently he misheard a relative when he was a kid and considering his mother as white it wasn't immediately obvious to him.